Hello there. Welcome to my first attempt at ASMR. Today I'm going to be showing you my fishing tackle box. Got this tackle box at Bass Pro Shop. I think it was about $100, $110. And this was my first kind of designated fishing tackle box. Before this, all I used was a standard backpack. I would put these plastic dividers in there, but they would kind of fit loosely and kind of flip over. I'd end up having to dig to get the box that I wanted, so this is a lot better option, a lot more convenient. Maybe a little bit overpriced, but I like it, so it doesn't really matter to me. Let's start with this first zipper. All right. So to start out, we have a box of hooks. These are kind of standard hooks of all different sizes. Some of these weird shaped ones, I don't really know what that is. What kind of hook? What's the proper terminology for that hook? But just kind of some weird hooks there. Then we have a Lindy kit, if you can see that there. These have Lindy sinkers in them, like that. And with these, what you're gonna do is, I don't know if I can get one of these. There we go. So you take the sinker, you put it on your line, and then tie the swivel to it. And then on that swivel, you're gonna put this leader with the hook on it. And then what that's gonna do, the sinker's gonna go to the bottom. You're gonna be dragging it this way. And then behind it, you're gonna have this leader trailing with your minnow or worm or leech or whatever you're using for bait. And that way, the sinker can slide on the bottom. So people use these a lot for walleye fishing, and walleye are kind of finicky a little bit. So if they take the bait, the sinker can stay on the ground while they take it, so that they don't really feel the weight then. So they're more likely to keep a hold of it when they take it. So Lindy rakes. Some split shot. Of various sizes. Very crucial to have in a tackle box. Split shot. Here we have an unopened mouth spreader. These are used primarily for pike and walleyes, or pike and muskies. I guess you could use them for walleyes too, but a lot of times when pike take their lure, they like to chomp onto it and hang onto it forever. So these are very nice for keeping their mouth open so you can dehook them and get them back in the water. Got some jig heads here. I think those are 1/4 ounce. Yep, 1/4 ounce. Some gold ones. And these ones actually, that's kind of cool. I never noticed that. They have, if that'll focus, I don't know if it will, 2 eyes on the jig head, so you can attach your line to 2 different parts of it. That's pretty interesting. Here we have some egg sinkers. See him in there? Take one out. The egg sinker. These will slide up and down your line, as opposed to split shot, which stays put at one part of your line. So these can kind of be used as the same concept as the Lindy rig. These will stay on the ground, and whatever you have trailing behind them will be able to take off while this stays on the ground, so the fish are less likely to notice what they're taking. We have some fishing line here. Hopefully you can hear the taps and such. This is a new microphone, so I'm not sure how sensitive it is. But this is 30-pound test, high visibility, braided line. As you can see there. This stuff is pretty heavy duty. I use it primarily for my bait casting setup that I use for some beefier fish, lots of pike fishing, some of my crankbait, top water fishing for bass. I use this line, so it's pretty good. And the only problem is when you get snagged on the bottom, especially in a kayak, which I fish out of a lot, it's very hard to break, so you pretty much have to cut it off. You're probably not going to be able to break it from a kayak. You're just going to pull yourself closer to it, so definitely bring a scissors if you're fishing with heavy braided line. Here we have some more line. It's 40-pound fluorocarbon, and I use this primarily as leader line when I'm saltwater fishing. So I live in the Midwest. I don't do a whole lot of saltwater fishing, but when I do travel and end up near a coast, I like to use this line when I'm fishing near bridges. This is fluorocarbon, so it's abrasion resistant. It's also very clear in the water, so it's very good to use for leader line. This high visibility braid is great for main line. It doesn't have line memory and loop up, but it's very easy to see in the water, so you're going to want to use a leader when you're fishing with braided line. Some 20-pound fluorocarbon. Same thing as the 40-pound fluorocarbon. That's mainly used for leader line. Another container of split shots. Very important. Here we have can I get one? There we go. Some snap swivels. And this allows you to tie that swivel part onto your line. And then the snap part can open and close, so you can easily exchange any kind of lure that you're using without having to untie and retie, and not every time. So that's kind of convenient. I don't really use them that much. I feel like the fish, I don't really get as many bites when I'm using those. I feel like the fish can kind of see, but a lot of people use those. So here we have a crappie rig. And with this, you tie on a weight to the bottom, and it has wire coming off at two different places where you can, or it has hooks attached to it. So this is used a lot when you're down rigging for crappies out of a boat, or if you're on a bridge or some kind of dock or structure like that. This allows you to have two different baits, usually minnows, off to the side, so there's a higher likelihood that a fish is going to take your bait. So crappie rig. Here we have a lighted slip bobber. Let's take it out of the package. Move that to the side. The lighted slip bobber. Oh, there's batteries in this. Don't want to forget that. Now this will slide up and down your line. You put a stop at at whatever depth that you want your line to go to. And then the weight of your sinker and bait will pull down through the bottom of this bobber, and it'll go all the way up until it hits that stopper. And it'll stop right there. So you can have a custom depth. You can change that very easily. A lot easier than the standard circular bobbers that have the little clips. Those are harder to change, so slip bobbers. Here we have some Eagle Claw snelled hooks. These are number 2. And I like these ones because you can tie on a snap swivel to your line and easily exchange these. So I use these a lot when I'm trying to catch small catfish or bullheads, and I want to take them home to eat them. A lot of times they'll swallow the hook, especially the bullheads, and with these it's very easy to take that snell off, put another one on really quickly, because if you're going to eat the fish anyways, you can just leave the hook in their gullet and get it back later when you're filleting them. So this saves a lot of time when you're going for bullheads. Some more snelled hooks. Here we have some little crappie lures. See that little guy right there? See the little tail moving? I have a lot of success with these ones. What I like to do is take little tiny 16th or even 32nd ounce jig heads. I like to tie a Palomar knot on one of them with a long tag end, and then tie a clinch knot or an improved clinch knot on the other one. So that way I can have 2 jigs on the same line. Put a bobber about 2-3 feet above it, or however deep you want it for whatever depth the crappies are at. And you have 2 of these little guys squirming around at whatever depth you want them below the water. And crappie seem to love these guys. This is one of my favorite lures right here. I always like smelling it because this is KVD Perfect Plastics Caffeine Shad 5-inch, I believe. Yeah, 5-inch. This is a fluke style lure. Let's see. So these, you Texas rig them, and you jerk them through the water, and they have a very erratic way of moving through the water that bass seem to love. This is one of my go-to pond lures right here, because a lot of ponds, or at least the ones that I fish, are very weedy, and this is a pretty weedless bait. You can put it through the weeds. It'll pick some stuff up, but it's a lot more successful in the weeds than a crankbait is. Those usually pull up weeds every time you cast them, so I try not to use those in ponds. Got another pack. These ones are 4-inch. These are in a white and black color. What does that say? Smoky shad. There you go. A little bit smaller than the last package, so if I'm throwing the 5-inch and the fish are not biting, usually I like to downsize, and that'll usually get them. And one last pack of jigs, similar to the original ones that I showed. These ones only have 1 eyelet on them, not 2, so I consider these more standard jig heads. And finally, if I can get it, have my leader holder. So as you can see, there are all different kinds of leaders. Got a walleye rig right there with the spinner. Anything that I have tied up with a leader, whether it's a snelled hook or otherwise, I like to put on this thing. It's very convenient to have. These little hooks are spring powered, so you kind of feed the line part of it. You hook it onto the hook and then take it around, and there are these little holes that you put the actual hook through. So this will hold on to your leaders for you. Let's see what's in this side pocket. Oh, relatively empty. All we have is these bobber stoppers. So for the slip bobber I was talking about earlier, these you put these on your line and it stops the bobber wherever you put it. Here we have a pair of fish gloves. So if you're handling dangerous fish per se, like bullheads are very squirmy and they have those spines on them. Got to be careful with those, or toothy fish too, like northerns, and you want to keep your fingers safe. These are perfect for that. I don't wear them too much, but especially if I'm fishing with people that don't have as much experience, they tend to like having these on when they're handling fish, so I like to keep those. Here we have a Major Craft crankbait in red craw color. This light is killing me. There we go. Let me take this out of the box for you. If it'll let me. Oh, it's got a rattle to it. Nice. Come on. There we go. Move that to the side. Hear that rattle? This is I've obviously never used it before since it was in the box, but this is a good red crankbait. Here we have a cycle bait. So this looks a lot like a spinnerbait and functions similarly, but this one, if you can see, instead of a swivel, the blade is attached by several rings. And the reason it's kind of oriented like that is this blade, instead of constantly swiveling and rotating, it'll kind of not really rotate, but oscillate back and forth, and that'll look a little bit less uniform. And fish like to they don't really like uniform things a lot. They like kind of erratic movements. So this is a little bit more erratic than a spinnerbait is, and it's not directly attached to the head either. So that allows for some even more motion and movement there. The cycle bait. Here we have an old beat up spinnerbait. It's kind of nasty. I might throw this one away. It's obviously pretty old. All this rubber's kind of melted together, so you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna throw that away. here we have I think this is Guggen Squad, a buzzbait here. Now, these are a topwater bait, as you can see here. The blade is made to rotate, so the way that you use this is you pull it pretty quickly through the top of the water, and that blade will rotate and kick up water, make bubbles and whatnot, make a lot of noise. And the bass and pike love these baits. I love fishing these. This is one of my favorite baits to fish. Casting these towards the shore in early morning or late evening. Get big blow-ups. It's so much fun. I love it. On to the bottom side pockets. Very important. We have bug spray, off deep woods. Yes, I use this a lot. It's almost empty. For some reason, anytime I go out in anywhere where there's mosquitoes, they target me specifically. Everybody else around me will have 1 bite, 2 bites, and I'll have 8 bites on one ankle. Just bites all over. They must like my blood or something, I don't know, but I always get mauled by mosquitoes, so that's very important for me to have. And then we have sunscreen. I don't know if you can see that, but SPF 70. Now I've heard that anything over SPF 30 is kind of BS. You don't really need it, so I don't know why I have this SPF 70, but I don't even know where I got it, but very important when you're going out on the water, especially in a boat. Those light rays will bounce off the water, so not only are you getting the light from up top, but all around you too. So if you don't take some sunscreen with you, you're gonna get a pretty nasty burn on a sunny day, so that's very important. Here we have some more line. 8-pound fluorocarbon, same as the other fluorocarbon. That's leader line. Tie on about 1.5 feet, 2.5 feet, somewhere between there. And this is 8 pounds, so this is for lighter fish. Walleyes, even the 20-pound fluorocarbon. Walleyes have very good vision. They have big eyes, and they have night vision too. So even the 20-pound fluorocarbon, they can sometimes see that. So the lighter fluorocarbon is a little bit thinner and a little bit harder to see. So I like to use that when I'm fishing for the walleyes. Here we have a needle nose pliers. Can't go fishing without one of these. Very necessary. And we have a hook remover. I never really use these. I've seen some people use them, but usually I like to go in with the pliers instead. I usually haven't had a problem just pulling it out, so I always worry with this de-hooker that I'll push the hook out and then get it deeper in their mouth and then try to pull it out and rehook them. So I'm always a little bit paranoid about using these when I have the pliers. That tends to be easier for me, but to each their own. And that is it for the small pockets on my tackle box. So this video is a little bit long already, about 25 minutes, so I might make a whole new video with all of the actual tackle and the lures that I use. So yeah, let me know if you enjoyed the video. This is my first attempt. Hopefully I'll get better as the videos go on, but welcome to the channel. Leave a like if you liked it. Let me know any constructive feedback. If you have anything that you would want to see, just let me know. So thank you for spending the time with me, and y'all have a good one.